Today I bring you my top 4 covered call ETFs of the S&P for 2025. They had to meet some really stringent criteria to meet the Tactical Stock Scalpers top 4 list. You have to have growing and positive distributions over the course of the year. You have to have positive share price over the course of the year and positive total returns. There are so many S&P covered call funds out there. I went through so many, and I'm going to bring you what I found to be my top 4. And if you own any of these, or if I missed some, please let me know. Also, it has to pay monthly to meet my list. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's a historical chart of the S&P from 1930, and you can see here this thing is just a beautiful chart. S&P 500, just a fantastic index. I'm going to give you 2 honorable mentions that didn't meet the requirements. And there's quite a few that didn't meet them. So the reason JEPI didn't meet it this year, but it does get an honorable mention, is because it was just barely negative on its share price. Remember, to meet my criteria, you have to have positive share price, positive dividend growth, and positive total returns. You have to have the trifecta. JEPI did not have that. Next, another one that did not make the list but does get an honorable mention is iSpy, because it had negative dividend growth this year. So you couldn't make the list, iSpy. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to go through my top 4 individually from 4 down to 1, and then we're going to put all the charts together so you can see what they look like. So without further ado, number 4 on the list, Goldman Sachs, GPIX. What a fantastic fund. It has 6.6% share price appreciation this year. Look at that, expense ratio at 0.29. Fantastic. Growing distributions over time and growing distributions for this year. Remember, this is just for the year of 2025, and GPIX has growth in distributions, growing share price, and it also has a positive total return, which I'll show you in just a second. Here's a chart of GPIX comparing it to SPY. So we lack a little growth here in GPIX, but it has enough growth and it pays great distributions monthly. Definitely in the top 4, and I think worthy of a top 4 mention. Here's its total return year to date, up 15%. Moving on to number 3, SPY has a 4% total share price appreciation for the year, a little higher on the expense ratio than GPIQ at 0.68. Positive distributions over the course of the year, as you can see there. Total return 16% for the year. Now check out the chart. It doesn't have as much growth as the GPIQ. All these give you a little something different that I'm going to bring you. And so it lacks a little growth in comparison to the Goldman Sachs version, but it does have some growth with it. And what a great way to rebound from the earlier correction we had this year. SPY, just a fantastic fund, and it's just great. Number 2 on the list is T-SPY. If you love one man and an algorithm, you'll have to watch the interviews with the CEO of T-SPY. Pretty funny. It's an individual guy. I know he has a team with him, but it's about him and his algorithm. This one has positive share price of only 1%. So you can see here, T-SPY doesn't have the growth that SPY has or GPIX. A little higher on the expense ratio, as you can see there, at 0.77 down there on the bottom. T-SPY, I wanted to show you its holdings here. It's all SPY all day. Look at that. Look at its holdings. It's all SPY. You gotta love that. Pays a 13% yield. This one also has the highest yield out of any of the 4 that made my top 4. Growing distributions over the course of the year, as you can see here. So that's fantastic. Total return 17%. Fantastic out of T-SPY. And now look at its chart. You can see the lack of growth here. Just barely positive on the year with share price. But you can see the lack of growth here in comparison to GPIX and SPY. And here's like the SPY chart for reference. Like there's the old high back there in 2024, right before it corrected in early 2025. See how far SPY has elevated past that? T-SPY just barely nudged above it this year. Like a little growth in T-SPY, but it still makes my top 2 for how it's performed this year. Now, number 1 in Mike's category, and remember, we're going to put these all together so you can see them on the chart together. 12% dividend growth this year out of Devo. Makes my list at number 1 S&P covered call ETF that pays monthly for the year. 12%. Look at that growth. Just absolutely beautiful. Pretty cheap expense ratio at 0.56. Pays a 4.57 dividend yield, so it pays less dividend yield than anything we covered today. Look at the distributions. Look how they just rocketed this year on Devo's dividends. Look at its total return here, 17%. Check out the chart here. I mean, it looks like the SPY chart, doesn't it? Look at the growth from this thing. Definitely better growth than anything we've covered. I would say GPIX is second. SPY is third on growth, but we'll see that when we put all of them together in the charts for you to look at. So, yeah, Devo gets my number 1. So total returns for the year, Devo at 17%, T-SPY just under it at 1711, SPY at 1610, and GPIX at 15 for total returns. Remember, this isn't cumulative. If it's for max all time or all of them together for max all time, this list looks totally different. But for this year is what we're talking about. Devo gets the lead in total returns. As we see here in dividend growth, Devo also gets the lead in dividend growth, followed by GPIX, and then T-SPY, and then at the end down there, just nudging positive on dividend growth, is SPY. We want to talk about price change percentage. Devo again gets the lead in price change percentage. And you can see here with the growth, GPIX second, SPY third, and barely making it in there is T-SPY, just barely got positive this year. I think these are all fantastic funds. I don't think you can go wrong with any 4 of them. They all provide something different. If you want that growth with smaller dividends, get Devo. If you want a mix of growth and dividends, GPIX and SPY is for you. If you don't care about the growth as much, but you still want a positive, but you want more distributions, then T-SPY is the one for you. I hope you enjoyed my list, my friends, and please let me know what you have, what you don't have, and what I missed. This is Mike. Talk to you later. Bye.